Friends, you know, the whole day you have been hearing a lot of words. So mine is the most difficult job. Because the first thing on the sustainability is that I have to speak to sustain your interest until I finish. So please bear with me. You know, I have attended many of such conferences. I have been in this field for the last 35 years. So a lot of you know me also. This is the first time when I am now getting a very positive feeling that the industry has started realizing the real issues which are facing us. Sustainability part is one that has been discussed a lot. I think I'm not going to repeat too much on that. I'm going to take out some of the points which I noted down from the discussions and which I think are very relevant for our future actions. Because ultimately, when we end here today, what we want to take home is not what we did, but what we should do and what we can do. That is what we want to do. It has been very educative and illuminating by Professor Narayan's lecture when he started with the biodegradability, the definition of it, the misconceptions of it. Similarly, there are misconceptions about sustainability and so on. So that is, everybody has listened to that. I don't want to repeat that. All I want to say is that now at least we have a better clarity as to which direction our product development should take place. We as a machinery manufacturer, today I have learned one very important part is the OMAC. Thanks to Brian, who really articulated that whole concept so well about packaging machinery, which has been one of the very important missing link. We supply machinery to almost all the user industries who are present here. Most of you are my customers, one way or the other. And we know what problems we face. And I'm sure our other colleagues from machinery supplier field also face the same problem. And I think one of the most important takeaway for me is that the OMAC solution is the one which we, as an industry, we should support and we should do a lot more on it. And for that, I would probably propose that Mr. Arora can now take up the torch of carrying this forward, not only exhibitions, but form a kind of a forum on a continuing basis where this kind of activities can be spread out to the other manufacturers. Today, here what we are representing is the cream of the industry, the top manufacturers. But packaging industry has probably thousands of manufacturers, not only a few tens here. How do we take that message across to them so that they all pitch in, they all come into the same level of thinking that, today we have packaging machine, FFS machines, a lot of you know, for 1.5 lakh for making those gutta packs and things like that, which are basically like they are sold by the weight of the steel. And you also have such a machine, very high speed wire, like what we make at 35 lakhs. So now there is a reason for those kind of costs. There is a reason why those technologies are required. There is a reason why those can be used more sustainable way for the future production, etc. Now, this is what we need to also educate the industry as a whole. It is not only our customers are the packaging users. Packaging users will demand. They have learned also a lot of things from this kind of point, and their priorities, their part of important criteria in business are very different than ours. And like any supplier customer, there is always a area of conflict. What we need is something which is a cost, which they will not bear, and so on. So how do we come together? This is kind of a forum which has really given me today a very great satisfaction that we are here on a platform where we are able to discuss the industry problem as one, because ultimately what happens in the marketplace, what happens in the perception of the public. Today a lot of people talked about that plastic is a bad name. Okay, we all know about it, we all complain about it. I also do sometimes. But I also now tell people that instead of complaining, let's think what are we going to do about it. How do we take the message across to the, let's say first of all, to the people who matter, who are the people who are decision makers, who are the influencing people, opinion makers. How do we take our message to them that what are the benefits of plastic? How the plastic is better or good? In what way it is helpful, etc. In what way it is actually a sustainable material. Now, for that, it is necessary now that there has to be a concerted effort that where not only we sit here, we have to have some kind of a forum, maybe an association kind of a thing, loosely maybe promoted by Mr. Arora, where we hold such program for, let's say, government officers. We hold it for opinion makers from different parts of the industry. Even go to the ladies club. Let the ladies also understand, the parents club, because they are the people who make this, what we call propaganda and the publicity in the market against the plastic. Not the people like us or the people, our colleagues in other industries. They don't worry about it. It is the common people, how do we take it forward? That is one thing which I would like all of us to now start thinking about it, how to take this message forward. And for that, this kind of a uniform safety standard, uniform response time, kind of a mechanism like OMAC can really come in very handy, in my opinion. And that is something which I am going to actually implement in all our factories. There is the KHS, there is all bottling lines, Mamata machinery makes the pouch making, FFS, and all the other machineries. We make rubber molding machines, we also make injection molding machines, blow molding machines, all across the table. And all of them, some of them we use, and we also use the controls from all the competitors here. So please excuse me that we do not necessarily favor one particular automation supplier. But the whole point is that our customers do ask the problem. And I have seen today a solution to give them an answer, which is a valid answer, which is a useful answer, which is an answer, which is the right answer. Those my colleagues in the machinery field must seriously think about it and investigate this further. And I do not know whether OMEC has a branch thinking about it. There can be education programs, seminars and things like that. Now, there was some mention about robotics and mechanism. There was a lot of discussion on that when Mr. Wadhwa asked that question, and he handled it very well on the automation side. Because automation is normally a very dry subject. You know, they are all electronic things, you just put the boxes there and you don't know what really is happening. But he made it interesting enough for people to understand that something is happening because of that. So, but robotics are something which I can tell you is already happening in India. We as a machinery people, I can tell you very much so, that because robotic is normally misunderstood word like many other words like sustainability, that we consider it is a robot which moves here, which moves there. No. Any kind of mechanization or automation which reduces labor is robotics nowadays. It's bunched under that science. For example, woven industry, Dr. Sarup would know, was one of the largest user of casual labor. For each one woven plant, which would be like in a month there would be about 400 tons for the polymer output. We make the machines for that. So, but one plant would employ about minimum 300 to 400 casual laborers just to make the bags. Now, over the years, especially over the last 3-4 years, what has happened is, because thanks to Narega, one of the biggest reason for why the laborers are getting scarce, the casual labor in almost all industry is now getting scarce. I'm sure most of you are facing that problem. somewhere or the other. Now that is again a sustainability problem, that without having the right input of employees and the right input of labor, how are we going to turn out the products which will be useful in the right time, in the right way? For example, today an average construction period, we have found that all our customers, new factories are delayed by at least 6 months. Now if you think about it, when you do the construction slowly, you are wasting a lot of material. The material wastage out of construction is far more than in packaging, if you really look. And that wastage of material has already used a lot of energy to be for production, a lot of energy for transportation, a lot of energy for doing all kind of stuff. Now that is something which we are lacking. That how do we solve it? But what is happening now is, because of this labor, overseas industry were forced to actually mechanize the process of cutting and stitching the bags. And the automation lines were developed by, fortunately, I'm very proud about it, that our Indian, not us, but many of our other colleagues in the packaging industry, they actually developed the very, very viable, reliable and accurate solutions for this. Now that is also robotics. We also have placed in pick and place devices along with molding machines. I would say now 1 in 3 molding machine is ordered along with the pick and place device, which 3 years ago we sold probably 3 in a year. Now we sell 30 in a month. This is the kind of a change which is already happening. So robotics is here to say, Mr. Wadhwa, so please understand that your vision is already moving forward in that direction. And safety standards, there was a lot of talk about safety standards. There I was somewhat disappointed to learn that people ignore that and open it, and they worry about the cost, worry about their incentive bonus in order to do more production and things like that. In our experience, in all our factories, we have safety measurements, and we have what we call accident tracking and all that. I would say in all my 9 factories in a year, probably we have one accident which is, let's say, really what we call grievous injury. That's all. If you take care, and the employees consciously use all the safety measures that we supply to them, that we ask them to do, helmets, glasses, shoes, washing their hands at the right places, right time, etc. All this is part of safety, and people do it. I disagree that the employees take it off. No, I think it is the owners, the managers who are running the plant, they are responsible for not teaching and not really motivating the employees that why the safety is good for them. That is what we have to do. And I'm sure a lot of you will have now understood that it is possible to do so. Because many of the companies are actually doing that. And then we talked about, Kishore Bhai raised the point of, again I'm now going to be somewhat critical of our own industry and other things. Because like Kishore Bhai said, that very often the buyers are demanding something which is impractical. And yet they expect the supplier to comply with the demands. And unfortunately, all of us know, and this is something which is unmentionable, people don't talk about it. I'm known for plain speaking because not only I'm a Patel. Patels in Gujarati are known as plain speakers right up in the front. So the fact is that the reason today our Indian government is talking about bringing a bill of private sector corruption, there has to be a reason, right? People, they are not doing it only because somebody is accusing them of corruption, that they want to hide behind some another law and blame somebody else. That's not the reason. The reason there is a fact of life. And that is what is sometimes deterring us, and sometimes it actually results into a substandard product being bought and substandard practices being adopted in many companies. I will not name them. We have experienced it. And we as a group are known for our integrity that we don't do these businesses. That's why we actually lose businesses many times. But it is something which Kishore Bhai brought it out, and I really admire for him telling exactly what is happening, because that is what is our experience also. But I'm sure that now we can consider that with the MNCs coming in, with the right practices, what they are bringing in, with all these standards of user requirements, FAT, etc., which we have also started observing, because we find now that most of the good large companies are very particular about their product brief at the time in their RFQ, request for quotation, and thereafter finalizing the order, and then the FAT standard and FAT things. For example, Coca-Cola is one of our major customers, and we always are, let's say, fighting for a lot of the FAT issues. And it is a 30-page document, 32-page in fact, I think, last year. 32-page document that we have to tick mark all the little stuff, but which is good. And that is what actually brings the sustainability of our business also. The sustainability of product will come when our business are sustainable. If our business are dead, who's going to worry about making sustainable products? So we have to sustain our business also. And the business will sustain only if we adopt good practices. As much as we adopt good practices for the products. Design of the product, and how, what kind of energy we are using, what kind of, how much water we are using, etc., etc. Now, there was something about this, why integration is not happening. Somebody asked that question. I think the integration in terms of different suppliers is not happening purely because there is it was rightly identified by Brian that because there is a fear of loss of intellectual property when we talk to each other. And that particular part, I think he also has a solution, that OMAC has a solution that now vertical integration can be easier and better between different suppliers. And we should consider doing that. Although I'm not in favor of necessarily allowing the customer the freedom of buying the best of the equipment from everywhere and then not buying the whole line, because we would like to supply the whole line also. And we will make the best line, and each and every component is best of the practice. And that is the aim which all of us as a manufacturer should have. The idea is that this kind of a dialogue that we have had, kind of information that we have had, kind of insights that we have had in terms of like simple things like Dr. Sarup telling about product design, reducing the weight and cost and other things. These are all ideas about how to design and how to think in terms of sustainable product from the ground beginning, as Professor Nayan said. So you don't start from here, you start from here. Don't start from here and say that, okay, now I'm majoring, so now I'm okay compared to you, I'm better. No. I think that was his best example which I liked, that we should learn to measure ourselves in absolutes. We should not measure ourselves in relatives. Relative measurement is good in the classroom, that I'm ahead of you and you are less than me, which is fine. But in life and in industry, if we want to really make an impact, we should go for absolute measurements. Where with the nature, with the world as we are, with the resources that we use, with the resources we should use or we should not use, that's how we should measure. And I think we should thank Professor Narayan for that. There was also a debate about his observation of biodegradable material, PLA being developed, and Dr. Swarup rightly saying that 5% of why all this hangama and all this shout about 5% of petrochemicals, how much we are going to save. Now that is a debate which is actually worldwide. There is a lot more to it. I think that debate actually demands a separate whole day session on this. So whether we can sustain our interest for that, that's very difficult. Because, sorry?
We'll have it in Ahmedabad.
Yeah, you can have it in Ahmedabad, yes. But there you will remain thirsty afterward. Here you won't remain thirsty. That's the difference. So, but Nevertheless, it is something that we need to think about, that basically it is the inconsistency of our application of definition of sustainability into product and understanding the sustainability that has actually created an issue where as an industry we are getting a bad name. That we are the polluter, we are the producer of pollution. That's how we are being seen. And this is what we need to really fight. And that is where I think as a group of people here, we'll have to find a way of taking it further. And where our Dadaji, Das Gujati, with his experience, he can probably guide us better as to how do we present, because the way he presented the example was really what we call, बोलते हैं हृदय को स्पर्श होता है. It really touched that teaching, which that means if that, supposing a politician even in West Bengal knows about this thing, they will understand that plastic or touch mat karo. See, quietly they are supporting it for Patel because it is hitting the pocket. पैसे का तो सबको डर है. Everybody likes that money should be saved in the pocket. So these are the kind of approaches we need to actually find and propagate and do more of it as we go forward. Now, although I've been allocated time, I don't want to take that much time because there are things which it will come to sort of repetition. And the plant bottle for Coca-Cola and the thing, I think some of the trials have been taken on KHS equipment in Germany on the plant bottles. So when they bring it here, we will have the equipment to supply to that. But one of the interesting development recently has come is about one of the biggest wastage in packaging is not the package itself or how it is made, but the content and how the contents are actually dispensed. That means if you take a sauce, tomato sauce, on average, Heinz estimates that about 8 to 10% of sauce does not come out of the bottle. However, how much you shake, you might scoop it with a knife and a long spoon and all that, or with your finger, but that 3, 4, 5% will remain. Now, when you total that up into millions of ketchup bottles that they are making, and that food is also has a carbon footprint which is going waste. What do we do about that? And that is applicable to almost all kind of foods which are packed in bottles, and there are endless varieties. I don't know how to tell you, like our pickles also. Now, recently a new coating, I think it is 3M or some liquid gel, liquid glide. Liquid glide has been announced, which actually ensures that the Heinz has already produced the bottles for that. And we are hoping to that millions of package, that all that chocolate with the milk content and sugar content and all that is actually going waste. So these are the things which we have to think in terms of reducing the wastage across the board in everything. What we can do, we should contribute. And I'm sure all of us today who are here will take this message across, which one of my favorite poet is our Dushyant Kumar, Hindi poet. I don't know, a lot of people know about it. One of his two lines, it's a big poem, but the two lines is, हंगामा करना मेरा मकसद नहीं है, हंगामा करना मेरा मकसद नहीं है, लेकिन बदलाव की आग जल्दी चाहिए.